You're seeing someone. Something feels weird. Your nature tells you that something is weird. She is very hesitant when you get some information about her past. Or, on the other hand, nonchalantly notice the names of past men in an ordinary discussion. If you're looking for a reliable relationship, you might be sliding into a trap. However, I'll assist you with keeping away from it today. If you are curious as to whether she has had a few sexual accomplices, search for these markers. These 10 signs will uncover direct experiences about how she lived in the past. Recall, the objective isn't to judge, however, to choose the ideal accomplice who won't meddle with your feelings and will focus on a drawn-out relationship. So keep close by until the finish of the film to see whether it's worth beginning a relationship with her, or on the other hand, if you ought to simply cut associations as soon as conceivable. Number 1. She tells obscure. She recounts obscure or conflicting stories, or then again conflicting stories. A significant sign that she could have had different sexual accomplices in the past is irregularities in her accounts later months together, on the off chance that you actually can't say, without a doubt, that she has plainly shared her past with you, and the things she shares are obscure or conflicting. It very well may be a sign, for instance. She could let you know one story one day and an alternate one the next. These irregularities can incorporate referencing names of more than one person, discussing a drawn-out ex, and afterward saying she never had a serious relationship, or depicting a side interest imparted to a past accomplice that doesn't match her ongoing advantages. It's vital to recall that not every person likes to remember former connections. Some individuals could like to zero in on the present with you anyway, if her ambiguity or irregularities make you feel uncertain or dubious. It's worth investigating tenderly. What might you at any point do in this circumstance? Have a serious discussion with her about this subject and ask her to explain her past. Assuming that she is really intrigued by a relationship, her response will more fulfill than her words. In the event that she opens up sincerely and fills in the holes with warmth and clearness, that is an extraordinary sign, however. On the off chance that she keeps introducing a conflicting story, it could demonstrate you ought to part ways with her before she plays with you. Recall, you ought to never race into pursuing this sort of choice. Connections require a mix of time and open correspondence. Give enough time and check whether her story appears to turn out to be more indistinct after some time. Or, on the other hand, if she begins sharing her previous, all the more, obviously in the wake of building trust. In you, number 2, she as often as possible changes plans without a second to spare. She much of the time changes plans at the last moment. Has she carnal plans at the somewhat late? More frequently, these variances can more baffle than the financial exchange have you. Of all time asked why this continues to happen, it's reasonable assuming plans are dropped for clear reasons, more than once. Yet in the event that this happens over and over, there's most certainly something wrong. Likewise, note that she generally gives dubious reasons for these scratch-offs. She could say a latest possible moment getting met up. However, shock gatherings don't occur that frequently, or she could specify a companion coming to town, be that as it may, is extremely mindful so as not to uncover the character of this companion. You shouldn't let her play with you. Like this. Obviously, she is focusing on something over the relationship with you, and that is a sign that can't be overlooked. It's essential to recall that we as a whole have occupied lives, and things can come up. Suddenly, perhaps she has a requesting position with erratic timetables, or a nearby companion going through a difficult stretch who needs her help anyway. If these last-minute retractions are turning into a propensity and you feel prohibited or irrelevant, it merits having a discussion. Once more, openness is absolutely vital. Here, approach her serenely and inquire as to why she's dropping designs over and over. Clarify that this is unsuitable to you and resolve things together. Number 3. She evades. She tries not to acquaint you with her companions. Acquainting you with her companions, meeting your accomplice's companions is a major step, as it's an amazing chance to associate with notable individuals in her day-to-day existence and be acquainted with her group of friends. However, what on the off chance that your accomplice appears to be reluctant or stays away from acquainting you with her companions, she may continue to rationalize or change the subject while you raise the point. The fact that she may make this an exceptionally immediate sign, be concealing something significant from you at the point when a lady has a certifiable relationship. With you, she would need to present you to everybody. Just when there is a gamble of something greater happening, does she attempt to try not to acquaint you with companions? She might be worried about the possibility that a companion who knows her past might uncover data about her sexual history, or that she had a relationship with one of those companions previously and did not have any desire to make reference to that, to you consequently. In any event, when you inquire about her companions, she changes the subject or excuses the discussion energetically. This can leave you befuddled, or indeed, even cause you to feel senseless in light of the fact that it seems as she doesn't think about you. Sufficiently commendable to discuss her companions. No great explanation for concealing companions. You can't allow that to go through. Maybe straightforwardly speaking with a portion of her companions can give you a superior comprehension of what her identity is, or just talking straightforwardly to her, as though this discussion would choose whether the relationship can proceed or needs to end there. Number 4. She feels entirely okay with actual closeness. Okay with actual closeness. Your first cozy second with her was concerning, as opposed to astonishing. Yes, you anticipated that it should be astounding, yet it finished up being suddenly serious. She may feel very quiet and striking with physical closeness, which could show she has had numerous past encounters, assuming that you are confounded. Let me make sense of, rather than you venturing out, assuming that she starts like an expert. It very well may be a sign she has experience. She doesn't avoid much love, yet is available to more progressed or even weird moves, tolerating all that you propose. If your impulse lets you know she has a great deal of involvement with actual closeness, it very well may be a sign you shouldn't disregard anyway. You shouldn't rush to make judgment calls. She may normally be more expressive and capable in bed, so you ought to likewise pay regard for different signs to guarantee she is the right accomplice for you. Number 5, she is exceptionally cryptic about telephone. She is exceptionally cryptic about telephone use. Your accomplice's telephone unexpectedly becomes her most valuable belonging. When she's around you, she tries to keep it face down, rapidly changes the screen, or turns out to be incredibly cryptic when noting brings in your presence. This conduct can be dubious and make you keep thinking about whether she's concealing something. The explanations behind getting her telephone far from you can fluctuate. She could in any case be in contact with a portion of her exes, or on the other hand, she may very well need to guarantee you try not to have ACC admittance to her message history or pictures from her past. When you request to see her telephone, she could get sensational deciphering it as an absence of trust on your part. This can place you in a troublesome position where you can't inquire about her telephone any longer. Prior to bouncing to ends, you ought to think about that. There can constantly be an alternate story or intelligent clarification for this. Everybody merits a few security, and certain individuals could just be exceptionally defensive of their individual space. Perhaps she has work discussions she would rather not examine or esteem, utilize her alone time for perusing. Anyway, assuming the relationship is sufficient, there will come a period at the point when the couple doesn't have to stow away their telephones from one another. Give it time to check whether she changes after some time. Any other way, you will be completely legitimate in cutting off the friendship in the wake of affirming her telephone exercises. Number 6, she She often looks at you to past accomplices. Often looks at you to past accomplices. A lady entering a relationship. Interestingly, won't ever come close you to another person since you are all she knows. Anyway, assuming she has had various accomplices in the past, asked, it's reasonable that she will contrast you with her exes, eventually deliberately, or then again automatically. How can you say whether she thinks about you to her exes? She could specify that the steak you cooked at home is superior to what she used to appreciate with her ex, or discuss how an ex cherished a specific movement that you never proposed during a contention. She could contrast your blemishes with those of her ex. These correlations, regardless, how unobtrusive can affect you, shaky significantly. These examinations are not your issue. An individual who has invested energy with various accomplices will wind up looking at them. At some point, you really want to tell her that she can't play with you like that. If she routinely looks at you to different men, essentially cut off the friendship and make it clear that you are not simply one more person. She maintains a strategic distance from profound closeness. Number 7. She maintains a strategic distance from profound closeness. Number 7. She maintains a strategic distance from profound closeness. Now and then a man, regardless of how solid he is, feels genuinely defenseless and will look for his accomplice to make up for that shortcoming, a profound association. What's more, everyday encouragement are significant in a relationship as they assist couples with getting through difficult stretches together. Yet consider the possibility that your accomplice doesn't answer your need for a profound association. A lady who has had numerous sexual accomplices generally displays this way of behaving and maintains a strategic distance from profound closeness. How would you know whether she is truly staying away from profound association in the event that you attempt to have a profound discussion? And she appears to like light visits, rapidly redirects the conversation, or then again tries not to discuss sentiments. She may be keeping away from feeling closeness, assuming you feel that your endeavors are to no end. It very well may be an ideal opportunity to stop attempting. Anyway, it could likewise be a sign that she is more held or has been genuinely hurt before. Perhaps you ought to give her a smidgen, additional time prior to making a choice. Number 8. She is extremely aware of her actual appearance. Aware of her actual appearance in expansion, to being mysterious with the telephone. She can be exceptionally aware of both her own appearance and yours. She can invest critical energy preparing herself, continually taking a look at her appearance or regularly praising others' appearances while investing wholeheartedly in her own, while thinking often about appearances is solid. It can likewise be an indication that she has been with other alluring men in the past and presently trusts that centering on actual appearance is some way or another pertinent to her sexual history, being excessively centered around her own appearance. Or others can show that she is more intrigued by what's outwardly than what's within. In outrageous cases, she might try and think about her physical appearance to that of an ex or any irregular individual she sees on her telephone. If, rather than conversing with you about things that require close-to-home profundity, she spends time contrasting herself with others, you reserve the option to inquire as to why, even after a serious conversation on this point, on the off chance that she doesn't shut down these shallow discussions. Clarify that it causes you to feel shaky and that she ought to stop any other way. It would be better to head out in different directions before it's past the point of no return. Just recollect that certain individuals are normally more picture cognizant, so regardless of whether she acts this along these lines, yet her set of experiences is very clear to you. It simply implies it's essential for her character, and she really wants to acknowledge what her identity is. Number 9. She shows a need. She shows an indifference toward examining sexual well-being, of interest in talking about sexual well-being. Discussing sex can be abnormal, However, it's a critical theme, particularly with regards to sexual well-being. It's urgent for each couple to talk about this, since it guarantees both are in total agreement in regards to safe sexual rehearsals and makes a space for open correspondence about their sexual cravings. Furthermore, needs what occurs on the off chance that she is never keen on talking about sexual well-being. This could mean she is concealing something, leaving you thinking about what it very well may be. Her apathy toward examining sexual well-being might be connected with her past. Having numerous accomplices implies she may be more inclined to physically scent contaminations, and the way that she would be able additionally send them to you could make her need to keep quiet on the point. Another factor is that she probably shouldn't be decided for her past sexual history, or on the other hand, the preventative technique she might be utilizing anyway. Sexual well-being should be talked about no matter what for both parties, and to get more grounded signs about whether she has had numerous accomplices previously or not. Hence, take a direct approach and clarify that these points should be talked about, or the relationship can't proceed on the off chance that she gets frightened, yet begins noting your questions. That could be a decent sign, yet assuming that she becomes cautious and starts offering obscure responses. Then she's becoming more troublesome, making it simpler for you to settle on the difficult choice to leave her. Her needs change and reject you. Number 10. Her needs change and reject you. When we enter a relationship, our accomplice becomes, quite possibly, of the most notable individuals to us. They become a need. This is the means by which brain science works. So assuming she causes you to feel avoided, or on the other hand, if her needs do exclude you, and you keep on being consigned to the furthest limit of the rundown, it essentially implies she actually has others who are drawing in her consideration. Albeit, some of the time it might appear that there are veritable explanations behind her needs. It may not necessarily, in all cases, be so. For model, she might begin burning through all her spare energy with new companions, disregarding the plans you made together, or focusing on side interests that cause you to feel rejected. This will give you a thought if her needs are genuine. Or then, again, on the off chance that you are essentially not a need for her at this time, assuming you have seen numerous other signs alongside this, then it is clear that she had numerous sexual accomplices. Before recall, there's no need to focus on judging her. However, your capacity to acknowledge that or not, on the off chance that this is a lot for you, now is the ideal time to bid farewell. You ought to never hurry to come to an end on the off chance that you notice a few signs. There could constantly be another clarification. My recommendation is to give the relationship some time, study her, and guarantee on the off chance that she can be a decent accomplice for you, or not. Simultaneously, never settle for short of what you merit, on the off chance that you are searching for a long-haul relationship with a more profound association. Never allow an opportunity to somebody who is simply playing. Recall, you are a man of extraordinary worth in outline. We have seen that seeing someone where your sense lets you know something is off base can be troubling. This guide presents signs that might demonstrate if your accomplice has had numerous sexual accomplices in the past, assisting with explaining your questions and come to informed conclusions about the continuation of the relationship. These signs, when joined, give an exhaustive perspective on her way of behaving and the likely effect on your relationship as a matter of some importance. Notice, assuming she feels excessively okay with actual closeness from the very beginning, which may demonstrate past experience too. Focus, assuming she keeps away from close-to-home closeness, or then again, if anecdotes about her past are unclear or conflicting, these mentalities might propose that she is stowing away significant pieces of her life. Another significant sign is continuous last moment. Plan changes, particularly if the reasons are unclear, showing that you may not be a need on the off chance that she frequently looks at you to ex-accomplices. This can sabotage your confidence and uncover that she is still appended to past connections. Likewise, watch her way of behaving with her telephone assuming that she conceals the gadget, or then again tries not to involve it in your presence. She might be concealing something exorbitant. Worry about her appearance or yours can likewise be demonstrative, mirroring a shallow accentuation affected by past connections. Another pivotal viewpoint is her lack of engagement in examining sexual well-being, which might flag that she is concealing contaminations or subtleties of her sexual history. Furthermore, don't overlook on the off chance that she tries not to acquaint you with her companions, as this might mean there are parts of her past she would rather not uncover. Finally, in the event that her needs change also, you wind up being barred. It may demonstrate that others actually hold her consideration. At last, this multitude of signs ought to be thought about cautiously and without rushed decisions. Connections are complicated and require transparent correspondence in the event that a considerable lot of these signs are present. Having frank is significant discussions to all the more likely. Figure out her past and aims. In particular, guarantee you don't agree to not exactly you merit. Look for an accomplice who is focused on a committed relationship and regards your sentiments. Generally, recollect that you are an individual of incredible worth and